Welcome to the What's Already podcast, where we fashion ourselves television judge and jury. My name is JJ Carter. I'm here with my co-host Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead, hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification button. Tell a friend about us. Tell your local Star Wars nerd about us. Though they might be mad at Alec.
Bring it.
It's hard.
I got the receipts.
It's hard to listen to this podcast when you're a Star Wars fan, and I am one. And I have a feeling Alec and I are going to disagree more than we've ever disagreed on this episode.
Ooh, excellent.
If the hints that I got from his text last night are any indication. So, sorry I got contacts in. It's fucking with me. I don't like contacts, but I don't. You know what I hate worse than my contacts is sweat drops falling in my glasses when I'm working, and we got a construction project going on outside. So, I'm taking a break to record about Ahsoka. We'll see how this goes. Let's talk about, look, it was a filler episode, right? Or like a ramp up episode. It was a penultimate episode. Everybody the band had to get back together before the big battle / chase. I don't fucking know, but I liked it. I was okay with it. I didn't have any issues. It felt very Star Wars to me. So I was good.
Okay. I don't agree, but I can see where you're coming from, being the Star Wars nerd. My problem seems to be you have almost these established Star Wars rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of those is being that the Force isn't magic, isn't a solve-all problem. Unless you're Disney, and it becomes a solve-all problem.
Like in what way, though?
Okay, so in Ahsoka having this strong bond with Sabine, despite the fact they've spent no time together, strong enough to cross over the Force. Why? But see, you don't need that because you have Hu Yang who says, hey, my scan came back negative. The debris is getting in the way. Let's leave the debris field and try again. Right? You can solve your problems without needing to go to the Force. But Disney, and this is they've done it several times just in this Ahsoka show, where I'm going to solve all my problems by using the Force. When there's a perfectly valid alternative that they can use. And, George Lucas created this to be, the Force doesn't fix all your problems. It's nice to have it. It helps for sure, but almost enhances your own abilities, your own skills, your own beliefs. And I was watching this. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, shoot, well, if you could do that, why didn't you just do that back in the other galaxy? I'm assuming there's no limit as long as you can, have that Force bond. And if there is a limit, what's the limit?
Well, so speaking of rules, if we're going to talk rules, this one actually didn't break canon. So, like, when you think back on Star Wars, right? And you think of Empire Strikes Back, and you think at the end, and Luke's hanging, dangling, doing fucking weird shit outside of Bespin and just fell down the garbage chute, whatever the hell, and he's hanging from the satellite thing. He calls to Leia, which within distance, right? Because of a bond that they had. We don't know how long. We do kind of. There was a couple years that they talked about Ahsoka and Sabine being connected. And yes, I can argue, but this is super fucking Ahsoka. This is Gandalf Ahsoka, dude. Like she and here's my thing is if Luke can do it without any real training in that particular Force ramp, because he couldn't even fucking lift his X-Wing out of the swamp at this point, right? So, but he can connect. Now there's the argument that it's his twin sister, but they didn't know about
that.
That
would be my argument. Twin sister, twin bond.
He didn't even know she was a sister at that point. So fine, but there's an enhanced bond there. But there is canon that establishes the ability to do a version. Now, I don't like the whole talking back and forth thing. Like, I would have much rather not had like the voices amplified where they were talking to each other, because Luke's never did that shit, right? Like, just have Ahsoka say her name and then have Sabine turn her little head. We're not stupid. That was my issue. It's like, don't treat me like I'm dumb. I've seen this before. This isn't the first time I've seen this connection. That was the part that pissed me off, is it's like, you don't have to explain yourself. Like, I know this is possible. Just have them talk normal and don't have her like respond and have her voice all fucking modified and like we're listening to somebody singing in a damn whatever those fucking voice modifiers are. I'm like, I didn't need that. So that part bothered me. The act itself didn't bother me. And they can't leave the debris field, because if they leave the debris field, then the fighters, they can find them. And then
yeah, but staying in the debris field was a real great choice too.
Yeah.
Oh, and I was really happy that Ahsoka somehow finally got her flying skills back. This is the problem with nerfing characters. I will say, I will give you the Force thing and not breaking the rules. I'll say, okay, I was wrong on that. I still think it's lazy, but
sure.
This is the problem with having a character that's good and making them suck. It's like, oh, she got her flying skills back. She can fly now. She's able to, perform basic combat maneuvers. I was waiting for, honestly, when the fighters dropped out, I was hoping she'd just go back outside again and hang out on the wing.
Yeah.
Because that's been established. That's how she fights fighters.
Yeah.
And so so you had this, it creates this kind of choppy thing where you have your main character suck for no apparent reason. No reason at all for the first 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden they have this, they decided to level up, apparently, put all your perk points into something. Now you're all of a sudden really good. But the route to get there doesn't make sense. Just start off your good character with being good and write a show around that. Because oh, great, she can fight again. She can fly again. This is the Ahsoka that should have been in episode 1.
It's fair. I don't deny that. Like, the ramp up, the whole handling of Ahsoka in this show hasn't been great in that. And it could have been if they had been heavier handed, and I never say this, but if they had been heavier handed with her second guessing herself at the beginning of the series, and maybe you could have even, especially now that they've established that this show takes place after season 3 of The Mandalorian, thanks to our trial, you could have even had a mention of Grogu, right? And the fact that she has met Grogu and now she's seen Luke training Grogu, like that she's completely and utterly feeling like a failure because she wasn't able to manage training someone that was already inherently good and was a fighter. You know what I mean? But they needed to be heavier handed with her second guessing herself. And then I would have been like, okay, that's fine. I get it. I don't like the fact that I have no idea why. When we first see Ahsoka, it's just Ahsoka, right? And we assume that she's
Ahsoka we know and love, but no.
Yeah. I mean, and it wouldn't have taken much. Like, you could even have like a Hera conversation that she's thinking about going to get Sabine, or even Hu Yang saying, look, you got to stop doubting yourself. Like, you've been doing it ever since you met Grogu and Luke. Like, it's all you needed. And I'd have been like, okay, problem solved. She sucks because she's second guessing herself. But it is also nice from my point of view to have Ahsoka back, like the whole laughing and giggling and easily forgiving Sabine once she was on the planet. Like, I was like, hey, there's my Ahsoka. Nothing gets her ass down. Like, she's always laughing and joking and smiling and, forgiving. It's about who matters to her. So it was nice, but I'm with you. It took way too long to get there.
Episode 7 of 8 episodes.
Yeah. No, believe me, I understand. That part I will agree with you on. That one was frustrating.
The other thing, so we have the other thing that really bugged me, and the Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka fight. That should have been their first matchup. Because lo and behold, Ahsoka uses both her lightsabers. And everybody who said, oh, Baylan Skoll was putting so much power into his attack, fuck you. He was doing the same exact this time around. But guess what? She had 2 lightsabers, and she was able to, withstand this great power attack.
Yeah.
No, this should have been the first one. Fight goes, and you break the fight off with some outside interference coming in.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I agree. And I go back to the point I just made earlier. It to me, all of these issues that, especially around Ahsoka, come from the fact that I feel like they wanted us to feel or understand that she was doubting herself, she was questioning herself, she was feeling guilt, all of these things that make sense that she's feeling. But I didn't know that because you tried to fucking make it subtle and shit. And like, I'm all for subtlety and letting me figure my own shit out. But there's sometimes you got to hit us over the head with a baseball bat, and it has to be appropriate. And this is an appropriate one. It's a pretty major plot fucking change or line. You know what I mean?
You could also just make the journey that she takes to regain her self-confidence more prevalent.
Sure.
Instead of what we got, which was 5-10 minutes of Clone Wars backstory, which I read, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently that was more or less a Dave Filoni plot to get his live action movie about Ahsoka and the Clone Wars made.
Oh, probably.
Which he's already written and didn't have a green light for. Now he does.
Oh, see, I hadn't read.
What a
that.
bitch! I don't know if it's true. I just read that
yeah.
he had a project like Clone Wars, Ahsoka live action project written, ready to go. No green light. Then he put this in outcry for more green light.
Yeah.
Way to go, Dave Filoni. Well played.
I'll have to do some research on that. I know there's this big controversy because there was like my dog is staring at you. There's like a big controversy. I don't want to say controversy. There's a big story about how like somebody took a picture, like screen capped the image of Hayden Christensen and the girl that plays younger Ahsoka standing next to each other in that like typical stance that they're in the animated version. And then they, it was in the live action. Someone's like, give me this movie or give me this live action show or whatever. And she tweeted back or replied to the tweet that was like, it's funny that you say that. Hayden and I were joking about that just the other night or something like that during this picture or whatever it was. And so I don't know. I'll do some research because if that's true, fucking good on Dave Filoni because that's like
smart move.
That's like Deadpool level shit right there. We're gonna leak the screener that we filmed and was never supposed to be released and see what happens because fans are gonna make that shit happen if we want it to. So clever Dave if that's what is actually happening. But I'll have to look to see. I'll dive into my deep cut Star Wars rumor trusted sources and see what I can find out if that's the case or not. It wouldn't surprise me, but I hadn't seen anything. I had read, like I said, the jokes about, hey, give me that live action because I'd watch that. So, speaking of Hayden Christensen, it's good to see him again. I'll take him as Anakin all day long, as long as it's not episode 2. I can't.
I'll give you that one. That was cool, but again, what's the point? What's the purpose? I need purpose.
Yeah, you're looking too much for purpose, dude. It's not going to happen.
Well, I expect it, especially from the mogul company that is Disney.
I don't expect anything.
I have a reason for it.
Yeah, I don't expect anything from Disney. I expect a lot from Dave Filoni, and I think for the most part, for me anyway, I know not for everyone, but for me, he's delivered something that I have enjoyed. I've had issues. It's not perfect, but I've enjoyed. And I'll tell you what I really want is I'm dying to know what's going on with Baylan Skoll because this dude just said, peace out. I know you're not coming with me. And then drops one of the greatest lines ever in the whole impatience to victory leads to
defeat
every time. I'm like, whoa, that fits, especially when you consider who Ahsoka and the good guys are fighting. Like, because as we saw at the end there, man, Thrawn is never in a rush to victory. He just cares about victory. And watching the strategist come out in him like that, and I love the visual of him looking over like this game board almost, like this digital board of all the players, and it was just like watching him play. To him, it's just a game, right? Move and counter move. And the only thing I was missing was I really wanted to see, after they killed all those stormtroopers, I wanted to see him rise up again. Because that's the big theory, is that whole, all the stormtroopers all bandaged up and battered and are actually reanimated by the witches.
Mm-hmm.
The great mothers or whatever we want to call them, and which would be cool because I mean he did have a group called the Dark Troopers, which would be interesting if that was the case and they were reanimated. But I was waiting because the other thing that, and I didn't notice this, so I got this one off the rumor mill, is Ezra's chainmail is dog tags, so Imperial dog tags. So like he smoked a ton of them. Now, we don't know how many, right? Like, that was one of the things that Thrawn was talking about is, look, our numbers are diminished, and we don't need to diminish them anymore. So maybe they aren't toast. Maybe Ezra's just wiped out, like, 6 battalions on his own. Because it takes a lot of dog tags to make some chainmail. I mean,
yeah. Oh.
Damn. I'm not sure how strong that chainmail is, but... They got to make their dog tags out of some serious metal if that's the case. Or he's just an asshole and is like, see my necklace? Sure you want to dance, bitches?
Yeah.
Since you can't hit anything anyway.
Yeah. So the next little thing where we kind of go back to my first complaint about the Force being used for stuff.
Yeah.
Like Ezra just using only the Force to fight bugged the shit out of me.
Really?
Like, I get using the Force as his main weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But it bugged me that's all he used. Give this man a rock. Give him a stick. Give him something else to use in tandem with his Force abilities. Because now I just get... I mean, I can't wait for someone to, like, Kamehameha Ezra Bridger with all of his Force stuff. And I mean, this is nitpicky on my part.
Sure.
This is nitpicky because just like Thrawn said, Ahsoka ran out of time. Dave Filoni's out of time to wrap up this story. There's no more time. He's wasted it all.
Oh, well, there's a second season coming. There's no
time. There's no time.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there and I was like, are you kidding me? I like that he didn't take the saber back from Sabine. But give this man something else to use in tandem with throwing troopers around like they're ragdolls.
Sure.
It looks weird.
I liked it. I thought it was dope. Where he was like, the Force is my only ally. Like, I was like, I'm okay with that. Because I want Ezra to be like, all he's done is set out with these little turtle freaking beetle people and like honed his Force craft. You know what I mean? Like, I like that idea. And eventually he picked up a blaster and shot a couple guys with it. So, I mean, but I can see where you're coming from too. Like, that's a pretty bold choice.
Give him a little walking stick. I don't care. Give him something that he can use to hit the first guy with. But just,
I think what bothered me is like he acts like this badass, and I think that's where I'm coming from. Like with the whole, like I thought it was a clever idea. Well, the Force is my ally, and I'm like, how badass is this dude? And then he immediately gets fucking launched by Shin Hati. I was like, oh, not as cool as he acted. And I was like, okay, so maybe he's got like that whole Jedi bug. Maybe he's overconfident because he has wiped out a half a battalion of freaking. And so he's like, the Force is my ally. Oh, hope that felt good. Getting launched into the turtle freaking roller because you got whooped, dude. Like, it was dope as hell because it's getting on the verge of being overused in my mind, but like the stopping the lightsabers with the Force, like I think that's cool as shit. And I liked that he had to like double hand it to stop it, but I hope that they stop that soon because it's getting a little overused. Like it was super dope when Vader did it. And that's all he did to the one chick in Obi-Wan, right? But like, I'm reaching my limit where it's like, okay, it was cool. Now you're making it not cool because everybody does it. Like, come on. So I'm with you there. But yeah, like I don't know, like I just had fun this whole I think that was my thing with this episode. Like I was like, okay, maybe I've just reached that point as a Star Wars fan where I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, it's Star Wars content, so I'm happy, and it's my Ahsoka. Like we're back to like an Ahsoka that I can be okay with. Like she has these thoughtful moments, and then she's just silly and laughing again, which was nice. So maybe I'm biased at this point. My biases is showing, and that's okay.
Oh yeah, my bias has been showing for the entire time. Give me good content.
Dude, your biases have been showing like for 6 series of shows. I mean, it's just like
exactly.
You have a more generalized version of Javier's issue. Like Javier streamlined it to Marvel. You're like Disney.
Disney sucks. Yes, 100%. Or I will say the content that Disney gives us is not reflective of the content they could give us.
Sure.
And that makes me upset.
Yeah.
Because they're passing it off as, oh, look at this. It's like, you could do better.
Well, and the sheer volume of money they spend to not make great content. Now, I'm not talking about Star Wars here, so don't at me.
You can at me. I'm talking about Star Wars.
I'm talking about like in general, especially like these live action animated remakes. Like they're terrible. All of them are terrible. But yeah, and I guess I don't know. The Rise of Skywalker was pretty rough. And I'm a defender of almost all Star Wars content, but that one was hard for me just because I feel like they gave up on something that I thought was pretty fucking dope. So, but people get mad at me for that all the time too, because I actually enjoyed 95% of The Last Jedi because it was different. It was weird. It was not normal Star Wars shit. It was like, finally, and we got some character development, even though it was off screen, and we talked about that last week, but even this show there's a danger to changing a character off screen. But I liked it. But The Rise of Skywalker hurt. And then there's been moments on this one like where I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, but the problem is I think the biggest problem I have is those moments that are can be fixed easily by running it through the simplest of, essentially the TV and movie version of spell check. Like run it through this. Oh wait, let's try this. And this little, mistakes or changes that can make it much better at the whole. But it's like, nope, just here you go. Open up. Here comes your next spoonful. And it's that's what really bugs me at the core. And then, you get on line or whatever, and you see like, oh, this is amazing. It's the best stuff Star Wars has put out, or best stuff anybody's put out in decades. I'm like, no, that's incorrect. Not even close. And then, we get a relatively good episode, right? Where Ahsoka's back, and it's like, hey, so you were able to do it. Yeah. Why didn't you do it earlier and tell a really cool story instead of saying, you know what? Hero's down on her luck. That's not a trope that's been used before anywhere at all. And so it's like, try making something new. You have the talent to do it. You have the cast, you have the, show creator, the show writer. Do it. And instead, we get, this.
I'm sorry that you're not loving it, because I have issues, but I'm enjoying myself quite thoroughly. Like I think they could have done better. And I think part of, like, I think on it, and I think Disney and those involved have like a little bit of Jedi syndrome, meaning we're too cool, we're too powerful, we're too big to actually not find success. And to a certain degree they are. Like, let's be honest, there are fans out there like me that if you put Star Wars content out, I'm gonna watch it. I may not love it, but I'm gonna watch it. But and I think there's a degree to a degree they know that. Like we talked about, I think they're trying too hard to please every fan, but I also feel like they know that they're gonna please some people, and people are gonna watch it regardless. So they're like, it could be better, but we'll put it out anyway.
Exactly.
And I think that's the hard part. Like because I do have moments, and we talked about it throughout this series, of sometimes I get frustrated because I'm like, it could have been better. it should have been better. But what's been really good, it's been really good, which has kept me. But I really want more Baylan Skoll. What the fuck is this guy doing? And I'm so sad. So sad. Like, I was sad anyway, because I love Ray Stevenson. But the longer this series goes, I'm like, God damn it. Because it's obvious this season can end in no other way but a giant cliffhanger. Whether that leads to this movie that Filoni's working on, or, you know, another season of Ahsoka, because I know that's going to wrap up all these shows. And I don't know. They already canceled the one show and they're doing a season 4 of The Mandalorian instead. And so, like, I don't know what's going on as far as how many more of these seasons of different shows before the Heir to the Empire movie comes out. But it's obviously going to end on a huge cliffhanger. But my question is, does Baylan survive this? Because if he does, now I'm brokenhearted. Because as much as I want that character to continue, like, I don't know who you get. Like,
I'm sure the Force can fix your problem in some way.
That's fair. That's fair.
Maybe he finds a fountain of youth and turns back time.
Maybe. I mean, that's kind of what I was like. They have to kill him, or they have to, like, switch his body, his consciousness to something else, which I suppose could be the case. I was laughing somewhere because, like, somebody posted, like, a picture of, Russell Crowe, who looks similar in the face, but he's not nearly as big as Ray Stevenson. Ray Stevenson was a very large man, as we see a couple of times in this series. He's big boy. So anyway, but I did laugh. Like, they were like, I was just thinking, and then it posted this picture of what's his face, Russell Crowe, and I was like, I can see the similarities. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, you're close.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Good luck getting Russell Crowe to come be in Star Wars. That's probably not going to happen. Maybe in Star Wars movie, but not a TV show. Anyway. All right. Well, there's the consensus. Alex not happy. I'm happy enough.
I'm never happy though. So
that's fair. He is kind of a grumpy Gus.
Yeah,
love him anyway. That's why I keep him around, because otherwise it'd be all rainbows and sunshine around this joint.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Sometimes though, I can't handle how much I have to shit on shit I love because you're here, and I can't just disagree with truth that's spoken.
You can disagree, JJ. I'm
not Javier. I'm not Javier.
I'm not Javier either, which means I'm not going to hang you out to dry for disagreeing.
That's fair. I won't argue a decent opinion, let alone a good one. I guess I will argue it. I just won't discount a decent opinion.
There we go. I like that.
Javier, on the other hand, you have an opinion. It's not mine. Fuck off. And if no one agrees, go back and watch a bunch of our old episodes. He used to be there. Or listen.
It's great.
Because we get into quite a few arguments, me and that guy. Scoob. That was a good one. Go listen to that one. He and I got into it in Scoob. With that, Alec, tell everybody where they can find us when they're not watching us live.
Happy to, JJ. So thank you for tuning into our review of episode 7 of the Ahsoka series. Once again, we got JJ on one side, me on the other. Feel free to at me in the comments. I have the receipts for my opinion. So special thanks and shout out, of course, to our wonderful patron, Words Are Hard. We are, at this point, wrapping up September, headed into October, which is movies with great soundtracks. Mm-hmm. We have a great lineup for you guys, all brought to you by Words Are Hard. If you do not like the selections that he makes, join us on Patreon and take away his monopoly. Right now, he's the only person who is picking content. So
that's fair.
If you do not like the content, you can at him. Don't come after me. With that, we will be back next week for the season finale, hopefully the series finale of Ahsoka. And then from there, I will kick it back to JJ, the Great Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT, the Under Armour man himself.
Yeah. No sponsor. Just happen to be wearing it because it soaks up the sweat when I'm out working in my freaking hot ass front yard. Careful. I'll Sultan the SWAT your ass in Phoenix down. I'll fly down there. You start saying no more Ahsoka series.
Edit. No more bad Ahsoka content.
There you go. I was gonna say I'm gonna at your ass if you say series finale. Yeah, fucker. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Listening after the fact. We enjoy these lives. It might be a minute after next week. I don't know what's coming television wise, and they canceled one that we really wanted to do. So we'll see. Oh, you know what? Loki's coming. Loki season 2's coming. And Loki season 1 was really good.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. So let's
that
put
one
that
was
down.
That one was really good. So maybe that'll be our next live series. With that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.
Whoa!